highlighted that the threshold indicated in the bill is too low. The problem I have found with the presentation did not go ahead to do some recommendations. To you, what could be the lowest to be indicated in the bill as the threshold? Two, and final, the way you have gone through the whole bill and highlighting some shortfalls here and there, what is your general recommendation about the bill?
Okay. So thank you very much, Chair. I will answer.
Should I lead you not to be like Chair, because Chair might direct you some? Should we do some surgeries here and there, or we throw it out?
So thank you very much, Chair.
No, one more, then you answer.
Chairman, yeah.
Honorable Werishe?
Yeah, thank you, Mr.
No,
Chairman.
I gave permission to Honorable Werishe, and I know the difference.
Thank you, Chair. Yesterday we were with the Attorney General here, and he indicated that he made a response to your issues as a bank. We don't know whether you had an opportunity to look at them to see whether there is a merit in it or nothing, because that is what he said, that he has responded to each and every item on issues which you raised. Have you looked at them to see whether they are satisfactory or they are still on departure?
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, now Honorable Ranya.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, to help the committee, when we shall be compiling our report, I would like to know from the bank what normally happened upon receiving huge amount of money from out. Do you inform the government? Do you inform the minister? Can you guide us so that we compare and contrast? Thank you.
Okay, that is Olanya.
Just a quick one.
Honorable Nsibambi.
Thank you very much, Chair. I know you have guidelines. They know your customer rules, etc. Do you have any law backing up enforcement in case of infringement by a customer here or a foreigner? Or they are just rules to guide administrative operations? Don't you think you need a law to argument and support your rules? They know your customer rules.
Good. And my last question, with your, in the business of banking, have you come across illegal money that has come in for wrong reasons, and what have you done to it?
Chair, and what action was taken? If you stop in the way like that, you're subjecting him to support the bill. What action was taken? If there was some illegal money with the existence of FIA, what action was taken?
I think the Bankers Association are very brilliant people. They know how to answer these questions as they are put to them.
Thank you very much, Chair, and I will attempt to answer, and my colleagues will support me. So what is our recommendation? What's our position? Our position, first of all, is that within the current FIA and framework that provides, that's the Financial Institutions Act and the framework of the Financial Intelligence Authority, there is sufficient legal framework for banking sector operations, including the risks that this bill raises. So we think that there's sufficiency in that aspect. And that's why we've said reconsider, and at the worst, like there was a team here, at the very worst, should the committee think otherwise, please take aside the financial sector from this other bill. The second aspect, Chair, is the Attorney General, I've just learned from here that the Attorney General said he responded. If that is the case,
You have not looked at the responses.
We have not seen.
We'll give you.
We have not seen it.
Okay.
I came here at 10. By the time I left office, we had not seen it.
That was yesterday.
Okay. I think Honorable Simambi said we may have regulations, rules, but we don't have a substantive law.
Yes.
We do believe the framework under the FIA and the FIA, the institution, and anti-money laundering regulations, and even the anti-terrorism legal framework has clauses, and I'm going to give you examples, because he asked, when have you ever seen illegal money, what has been done, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
The central bank penalizes us heavily, our membership, for infringement on all these areas. And indeed, member institutions have been penalized heavily. And there is a risk to the banking license if there are repeated offenses. There's also a personal risk to the directors and accounting officers. And this happened, it's just that it doesn't come out in public. But they regularly punish. And lastly, within the international correspondent banking framework, because AML laws are very clear, and FIA knows that, there are severe, severe consequences for that. And there have been instances I want to confirm, and members have paid the price. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Great. Thank you so much, Bankers Association. I think you have, I'll ask Honorable Oliebo to, no, we are done with questions. Let's give a chance to others who have been here since morning to also make their case. Honorable Oliebo, please, you can escort them out. Thank you, Bankers Association.
Chair, the threshold, he didn't respond.
Oh, the threshold, Chair. Yeah, we do not propose a threshold because currently there are transactions far above that we undertake for the country.
After you have left, if you find you need to do additional, please feel free to. Thank you
very much.
Honorable Yebo, please escort my visitors.
Is this yours or mine?
So Human Rights Commission. Hey, okay, and the Honorable Sivambi should be escorting them. Assistant. The Human Rights Commission, please take pause. They are here. Then we'll add the executive of. Yeah. You'll be the one following. And Honorable Sivambi, let the visitors. You exit. You can consult in the corridors. The Human Rights Commission is a constitutional commission, of course. You will excuse us for keeping you here longer. But as you saw, we need to give Ugandans a hearing. Because they will come to you complaining that we didn't hear. We didn't accord them. Okay, so please introduce yourself and begin.
It's not working. Thank you very much, the Honorable Chairperson and co-chairperson and honorable members of Parliament's Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs and that of the Defense and Internal Affairs Committee. We from the Uganda Human Rights Commission would like to thank you very much for inviting us to participate in this process when you are discussing this Protection of Sovereignty Bill 2026. Honorable Chairpersons, the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, Article 52(1), Clause 1D, commands the Commission to recommend to Parliament measures for effective promotion of human rights in the country. And this includes reviewing bills in Parliament and giving you recommendations on measures that can make the bills human rights compliant. We have reviewed this protection of sovereignty bill and teased out the human rights implications therein and come up with recommendations which we will be presenting to you in Parliament today. My name is Lamek Omara Apita. I'm a member on the Uganda Human Rights Commission, but here I'm representing the chairperson of the commission who is not in. I have come here with the team, and I would like them to introduce themselves. After that, I'll request one of the senior officials, the Director of Complaints, Investigations and Legal, to take us through these recommendations and observations we have made on this bill. Thank you very much.
Honorable Chairman and Co-Chair and Honorable Members, my name is Kamadi Yonabie. I'm the Acting Secretary to the Commission.
Honorable Chair and members, my name is Pauline Nansamba Mtumba. I'm the Director of Complaints, Investigations and Legal Services, Uganda Human Rights Commission.
Honorable Chair and members, good afternoon. My name is Diana Akampereza. I'm a Senior Human Rights Officer working with the Uganda Human Rights Commission.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair and members. My name is Christine Kawazira, Public Affairs Officer at the Uganda Human Rights Commission.
Director, please take us through.
Thank you very much, Acting Chair of the Uganda Human Rights Commission. Honorable Chair and members, I have a difficult task which I will attempt to achieve because a lot of discussion has gone on around many of the clauses, and I would not want to belabor points that have already been made. But the position of the Uganda Human Rights Commission is that we do recognize the legitimate right of the state to protect its sovereignty. That includes territorial borders and legitimately established government and principles of non-interference as are articulated in Clause 5. We also recognize Uganda's commitment, as expressed in the bill, to ensuring that its foreign policy respects international law and treaty obligations. That is in Clause 9. We do highlight that those are positive aspects of this bill, as detailed in our written submission. We do, however, have some concerns about how the bill in its current state impacts on the rights of citizens, specifically in several ways, and I'll try not to repeat what has already been mentioned. But we do have concerns, one, on the disenfranchising of Ugandans residing outside the country. The definition itself of a foreigner to include a Ugandan citizen residing outside Uganda, by implication limits on rights of citizens. And as Uganda Human Rights Commission, we have been agitating for Ugandans living abroad to continue to enjoy their rights, including their right to vote. And we feel that this definition curtails instead of expanding the rights of Ugandans living in the diaspora. We are also concerned that the language of the bill is designed more to criminalize and not to regulate. The definition, for example, of disruptive activities includes threatening violence, causing bodily harm, destruction of property, and these are issues which are already offenses under the Penal Code Act. As well, the fines that are prescribed under Clause 6.4, Clause 7.4, Clause 12.2, we find are very high and intended really to not to regulate or not to encourage regulation, but more to punish. For example, when you have a fine of 2 billion shillings to an individual for simply failing to submit returns, our view is that that is exorbitant and it is not intended to regulate, but rather to criminalize. Councillor Philip Karugaba earlier on spoke about the language of the drafting, which creates more of sweeping provisions as opposed to specific. For example, clause 22, which refers to any person or a foreign agent. So there's a lot of, the bill generally seems to generalize and have sweeping recommendations. Under clause 3, which talks about administration of the act, we have concerns that this can be used arbitrarily. And I think this point has been made. The minister is given overarching powers without any guide onto how, actually it's the Department of Peace and Security that is given overarching authority. Yes, the bill provides for implementation of the act in consultation with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Finance, Planning, Economic Development, but no clear structure is provided for that consultation. We also note that there's no internal review mechanism provided in case a foreign agent is dissatisfied with the decision of the department. We recognize that a provision has been made for redress to court, but that is at the cost of this individual, and we know that court processes are lengthy and time-consuming. So we have concerns about those processes. We do recommend that rather than a department, perhaps an interministerial committee or board is given that authority. We also note that the bill unduly limits the rights of citizens to participate in the affairs of government. I think that point has been made throughout most of the morning. Clause 7.3 prescribes a specific way in which any person seeking to engage in policy discourse can engage. We find that that is limiting. It limits it to submission of those views to the relevant ministry, department, and agency, which goes against the spirit of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, which emphasizes under Article 25 public discourse and participatory governance. I also wish to respond on what the Attorney General mentioned yesterday when he spoke about Clause 2.2. I think we join others who have made the submission to say that clear exemptions should be provided for within the law. We do not feel that it is sufficient to say that basically what the Attorney General is saying is not clearly stated or stipulated within. We feel that it would be important that specific exemption clauses are provided for under Clause 2.2. Broadly speaking, those are some of the concerns that we have raised. We have made recommendations, which again, I do not wish to belabor, but I request that I highlight a few of them. For example, at page 7 of our submission, we feel that it is important that the term foreign policy or foreign interests is defined for purposes of this law. Because as it currently is, it leaves interpretation to the discretion of that responsible officer who, as I've already said, we feel has a lot of discretion already. The Commission notes that this clause grants the Minister broad and unchecked authority to designate any individual or business as a foreigner through statutory instruments. Again, that is a point that was made earlier on. We do recommend that this provision be amended to introduce clear, objective, and well-defined criteria for determining who qualifies as a foreigner. In addition, the exercise of this power should be subject to oversight to ensure accountability. Safeguards should also be included to guarantee transparency, including the requirement to provide written reasons for such designations and the right of affected persons to challenge that decision before an independent body or court. I will move to page 10 on the sovereignty of the people, which is clause 5. We recommend that the bill be amended to include clear, precise, and legally sound definitions of both interests of Uganda and foreign interests, as I've mentioned earlier, in line with the constitutional principle of legality under Article 28. These definitions should be tailored to cover not only conduct that poses a genuine and demonstrable threat to national security or public order, so as to avoid criminalizing legitimate activities such as advocacy, research, or international cooperation. I'll not belabor the point. I'll move to page 11 on prohibition of the promotion of a foreign policy of another country, which is clause 10. This clause prohibits any person from soliciting, receiving, or obtaining funding or assistance from a foreigner to sponsor or organize meetings aimed at promoting the foreign policy of another country. The Commission notes that if the goal is to prevent the importation of foreign ideas, the bill threatens national progress. Most successful reforms in Uganda are informed by international best practices, including in the human rights field. This provision makes it risky for researchers and citizens to advocate for reforms based on successful global models, effectively stifling policy innovation and civic engagement as envisaged under the Constitution. We have made a recommendation there, which I will not read. At page 13, clause 12, which talks about prohibiting of interfering with the operations of government. The clause fails to define what constitutes undermining or interfering with the operations of government. Honorable Chair and members, definitions that are so broad in scope present a challenge because they can be used to victimize legitimate activities. So, for instance, if citizens meet to criticize a government program or collectively opt out of a non-mandatory plan, such actions could be labeled as undermining or interference. And so this ambiguity offends the Article 1 of the Constitution, but also Article 28, which requires legal certainty. So we recommend that this clause be amended to provide a clear definition of what constitutes undermining or interfering with the operations of government, following the criteria provided in Article 28 of the Constitution. Honorable Chair, and members, as I've indicated, a lot of what we had highlighted has been mentioned earlier on. In conclusion, the Uganda Human Rights Commission notes that the bill addresses a legitimate concern regarding national sovereignty. However, without substantial revision, it risks severely restricting legitimate civic space, which is a critical part of a democratic society. It also threatens to undermine key constitutional freedoms, including the rights and duties of a citizen, the rights to participate meaningfully in the affairs of the country for the national interest, and also risks enabling an arbitrary enforcement environment. We therefore urge Parliament to reconsider and amend the bill to ensure that it achieves its objective without compromising human rights and democratic principles. I thank you and I beg to submit.
Thank you, Human Rights Commission. That was good. Honorable colleagues, you think there's any comment on them? I have also been reliably informed by Honorable Fox Odoi that there are people here whose job is to bring in foreigners, take them to their hotels and houses and charge money, and they bring in foreign exchange. Since they have come in, we'll also hear from them. There are people here whose job is to bring in foreigners from their countries. Yes, the legitimate business. Of course. Okay. Any to the Human Rights Commission, Mike?
Well, for me, I wish to thank the Human Rights Commission for making an attempt to come to the committee with proposals. We thank you and request you to go a step further because you've made general recommendations on definitions and what you think we should do. Now, I wanted to request you to, we are still here to attempt to try to do some of these definitions if they can be, if you can attempt to define some of those terms that economic sabotage, agent of a foreigner, in the terms that you have recommended, because the recommendations are so broad. If you can help us to go further and maybe submit by say Monday or Tuesday, that would be so helpful. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Briefly, I wanted the Commission, by this submission, it appears just like Uganda Banker Association, you were not involved or consulted prior to the drafting of this bill. I wanted you to confirm that. And then secondly, my experience legislating in this Parliament is that when a bill comes before the House and it has 30 clauses like this one, and the proposals are to amend half or more of it, that bill cannot remain the same.
from your own submission, I see that you have touched about 17 clauses and potentially even more if we are to polish. Would the bill still be the same if you alter the structure up to like 17 of them? Would that still be the bill, or it is better you ask the person who drafted it to look at it and probably do something else?
I think the constitutional mandate of the Human Rights Commission is that they don't dismiss. They allow people to... But I hear you loud and clear. Any other member? Okay. Over to you, Lamek, and your team.
Chair, for us, I think now it is just to thank you. Forgot to mention, because so I'm just sitting in for her.
Honorable Fox-Odozi is your chairperson here.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Because he kept pushing us that we bring view forward, but we said no. We wanted you to see that we have listened to many Ugandans, so that if they come complaining, you can put. Okay.
But chairs and the members, thank you very much. We are always available when you need us.
Okay.
But I think even when you don't need us, if we have something, we will come, so long as it's to do with human rights.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable Fox-Odozi, it is in order that you escort your team.
Chair, before Doi can escort.
Okay. Honorable Chiwanuka Mulima Mayuni, please escort my visitors.
But before he can also stand up, Chair, with your permission, only as maybe he stands up, we can tell us
I have
about
closed that.
This unwarranted searches to people's premises. What does he talk about it?
But Honorable, we asked for questions. No.
No, he can still hear. It is
Is it on the bill?
Chair, he's still here.
Clause.
That is clause 20.
Clause.
Chair,
that is.
Chair, it is
please.
Clause.
We'll answer. Yeah.
Chair, it is clause 20.
You can pass this.
28, Chair.
Thank you, Human Rights. Can we hear from the international?
Chair, it is clause 28.
28.
Yes.
Okay, well, it will be answered.
The custodians of human rights are here and they are leaving. No, I'm not supposed to escort them.
International NGOs country directors. Then the TESO group, you'll be following? No, now are you together? No. Okay, so I called international, you called international NGOs country directors. After that, TESO. I beg your pardon?
Sorry, Chair, allow me to address you. My name is Elizabeth Kemidsha, and I work with the Uganda Association of Women Lawyers, FIDA Uganda.
Association of?
Women Lawyers, that's FIDA.
FIDA? No, yes. FIDA, you're on the list.
Yes, and we've been here since 9, Chair.
Okay, yes. Absolutely. All these people have been here. I'm going to give you a chance. In your own right as FIDA, Kemigisha, isn't it? Be a little patient with us.
That were not on the list are present.
You are actually on the list.
Yes, we are, Chair.
Yes, you are. Thank you. Okay, so the directors, you have seen the way we are making. Please introduce yourselves. Okay, that's okay. Don't you know? Now you're going to take us to Human Rights Commission. Over to you, directors.
Thank you, Honorable
Chairperson,
honorable members. of this committee. My name is Titus Gerald Musime. I am the country director for Child Fund Uganda, formerly Christian Students Fund. I am the
Formerly
Christian Student Fund.
And now
Child Fund.
Child Fund Uganda.
Have come with a team. I am the current chairperson of the International NGOs Country Directors Network.
Okay.
I've
You have
come,
a presentation?
Yes, I've come with colleagues who would say their names.
Please.
The organizations. We
How
are
many
a
are
total
they?
of 120 international organizations.
Interesting.
120. Honorable will present the list.
Please
Sir.
do. It's very important.
We will present the list, yes.
Very, very important. Okay, so they should introduce themselves and then. But can we have a copy of your presentation? Oh, clerk, can I have? On the table, there is nothing. Okay, please introduce yourselves.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair. I'm Pauline. I'm the co-chair of the CD's Country Director Network, NGOs, and I'm also the country director for Handicap International, a French NGOs.
You are Pauline.
Pauline.
Pauline Nadim Dukos.
Exactly.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Chair.
Yes.
And honorable members. My name is Ben David, and I'm the country director for Hope Speaks.
Okay.
It's one of the 41 that was listed.
Okay. Please, Madam.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. My name is Akite Lydia Jean, and I work with Child Fund as an advocacy manager.
Akite. Okay. Yeah, they have their, yes. Please.
Good afternoon, Chair and honorable members. My name is Ronald Kavier, and I'm the country director for Brass for Africa.
For Brass?
For Africa.
Brussels, Africa.
Brass for Africa.
Brass for Africa.
Yes, thank you.
Not grass.
Brass the metal.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair and members. My name is Valerie Rubombora. I am a registered architect and the Executive Director of Engineering Ministries
Valerie Rubombora, an architect.
And Executive Director of Engineering Ministries International, Uganda.
Interesting. Engineering Ministries International, Uganda.
Yes.
Is it an NGO?
Yes, it is.
Not a professional body?
We are a foreign NGO. We are registered. We've been in Uganda for 20 years. We constitute of local and international missionary architects and engineers and other built environment professionals that support people who are organizations that are working with people in poverty and in other disadvantaged areas and promoting the gospel.
Okay. Yes?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and members. My name is Odokorach Shanti Francis. I'm the country director for Oxfam. Oxfam has been in Uganda since 1962. And we've been operating on a number of issues, including refugee response, water sanitation, hygiene and promotion. And also we touch on issues of gender justice and women's rights, as well as issues around governance and accountability. Thank you.
Okay. Any other member? Okay.
Honorable Chair.
Yes.
I want to draw your attention to the fact that as international NGOs in this country, we play a very critical role in mobilizing significant amount of resources that cater for different services. In water, like my colleague has mentioned, we're key partners in supporting government programs in education. We support a huge amount of the refugee response work that's happening in this country. And together with the government of Uganda, we've piloted a number of different interventions that have been used as best practices in other parts of the country and other parts of the world. I want to draw your attention, Chair, to the fact that as a sector, we employ a significant number of Ugandans, and yesterday we're just trying to do a quick assessment of our impact in terms of employment and numbers. And from only 41 of the organizations of the members, one third, we noticed in the last 5 years, we have invested at least 1.2 billion US dollars in this country.
Hmm?
Yes.
For the last
5 years in this country. Cumulatively.
You have invested?
Yes.
Are you investors?
International organizations. Chair, I will explain what that
You have
means.
spent?
Yes, we have spent.
Okay.
And this year alone, our cumulative budget, 41 of us, one third, is about 247 million US dollars.
Yes, sure.
We are important contributors to payee, withholding tax.
No doubt.
And also we are very important employers. The 41 of us employ over 9,000 Ugandans. Currently, this year alone, together with the 41, and that's just a snapshot, we are employing over 5,000 Ugandans. Honorable Chair, I want to request my colleague to go to the specific issues of the bill and with our recommendations. Francis, you are welcome.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and members. We have made an analysis and identified about 10 areas that we would like to make submissions, but because a lot of them have already been spoken to, I will limit myself to be very specific.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
And
Raj.
we will raise what our concern is on a specific area, what the implication is to us as international non-governmental organizations, and where recommendations is now not being repeated, we will attempt to also mention the recommendations. On the first part is the aspects where the open-ended definitions of terms. I think most of the previous presenters have spoken to this, and I'll not go into the definition of the foreigners. I believe many of us who are country directors are Ugandans, and therefore, by this bill, we are agents of foreigners. And the implication is that the effect of this expansive definition of the foreign agent will be to create considerable burden on the INGOs that employ Ugandan professionals and nationals. A Ugandan citizen will also be put in harm's way if by omission or in commission in case an INGO fails to comply on account of limited resources and oversight. So we employ a number of Ugandans, as my colleague has already mentioned. Therefore, our recommendation, there are numerous laws that deal with Ugandan citizens with regards to employment, immigration, as well as money laundering and reporting. We believe that all these pieces of legislation is sufficient, and they can be amended or strengthened to achieve the legislative intentions that are within the limits set by the Constitution. I would also go to the next one that I will be talking about, the ambiguity regarding the scope of application. This bill makes references such as engages in the political activities in Uganda, an interest of foreigners, or against interests of Ugandans, as used under the clause 2 of the bill, that creates a level of ambiguity that makes compliance almost impossible for us. These phrases create wide discretionary interpretation, are hence subject to abuse. And our recommendation is that this needs to be significantly reviewed, because we are well-registered organizations that we declare all the activities that we carry out in Uganda. The other area is around registration and administration. Honorable Chair, the bill gives the minister powers to register agents of foreigners or to deny their registration without providing reasons for the refusal. And perhaps an aspect that I would like to point out here is that there is no mechanism for appeal. which in an aspect where an application has been made and it has met rejection, it will just end there. And I think that will be disastrous to the services that organizations such as ours offers in Uganda. The other one that I will go to speak about very briefly are the functions and services for which government is responsible. I'll talk specifically to clause 6 of the bill that provides under subsection 2, a person or an agent of a foreigner shall not exercise any of the functions specified in the 6th schedule of the Constitution, except with approval of the relevant government agencies assigned the mandate to exercise such functions. Under paragraph 3, the relevant agency requires cabinet approval before it approves any person or agent of a foreigner to exercise its mandate. Honorable Chair, this clause is problematic because most projects that international non-governmental organizations implement together with the government of Uganda falls within the scope of this schedule. For example, the work we do with the refugee response, education and education policy, health services, health policy, food security and nutrition, all of these are part and parcel of the implementation that will be severely affected. I will not go into the others because they have already been mentioned, but in addition, clause 7 of the bill also, under the Constitution and the current practice, government policy making in Uganda is a mandate of the cabinet. The practice is that the MDAs develop draft policies and process them until they are presented to cabinet for approval or promulgation. Any other efforts by citizens or entities are only proposals for considerations, to which we always contribute in line with the different line ministries, such as Ministry of Agriculture and others. We feel that under this section, it can criminalize thinking and creativity of citizens. Clause 8 is even more problematic, as it creates a blanket prohibition against implementation of government policy. The real essence of the government policy is to guide citizens in their day-to-day activities. So when we are working with coffee farmers, for example, to implement the government plans, it definitely means we can also run into problems with this law. There are others that we have indicated here, but I'll not go into detail because I'll be, in a way, repeating what others have already spoken to. But allow me also to speak to clause 13 of the bill dealing with economic sabotage. We think this is also still very ambiguous. That is difficult to figure out what is intended to cure and the interpretation. Probably the last one that you will allow us to speak to is the registration of agents of foreigners. As INGOs, part of the bill provides for registration of agents of foreigners. While this is legitimate regulatory activity, its validity and clarity is dependent on how the issues raised above may be addressed. In addition, there are a number of concerns that could be addressed in the final text of the bill. One, all INGOs are already registered under the laws. Would this mean the additional registration? Or this would become the primary form of registration for organizations that fall within the meaning of the term foreigner or agent of foreigners? The fact that there are no timelines for handling of applications of decision-making makes the application process unpredictable and susceptible to delays. And the last one that I would like to speak to is regulation of funding for agents of foreigners. Part 4 of the bill deals with the regulation of funding, and I think many people have already spoken to, and my colleague has indicated the significant amount of funds that we attract from foreign governments, foreign donors and actors, and we spend in Uganda. And this can present prohibition that might be very difficult. Many of us, when we go to our headquarters, we market Uganda as a place that has a very open door policy for refugees, for example, and we work very well with Ministry, Office of the Prime Ministers and others to ensure we can provide the services. That has put Uganda on the map. But, Honorable Chair, when resources are being distributed in our headquarters, with this kind of prohibition, it will definitely mean that some of these funds will go to countries that are seen to accept those funds more easily. So we might be seeing our funding continuing. And the worst scenario is that our headquarters choosing to go and work in other countries where it's much easier to carry on work, and therefore it will leave us and the people that we serve exposed to the risks that we are trying to address. Our prayers, as we conclude, in light of the foregoing, we as international country directors respectfully submit that the protection of the Sovereignty Bill 2026 in its current form will have unintended negative consequences for the constitutional governance, civic space, and the national development. Accordingly, we recommend that the bill be withdrawn in its entirety. Alternatively, should Parliament find it merit in its objectives, consideration should be given in effectively and reasonably implementing existing legal frameworks rather than introducing additional regulatory layers, noting that Uganda already has robust mechanisms under the NGO Act 2016, NGO regulations, the anti-money laundering laws, among others, that provide for registration, financial disclosure, and oversight. The bill introduces parallel structures leading to duplication, over-regulations, and legal uncertainty. I submit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, directors. They're called country directors, not small people. I think this has been clear. Honorable colleagues, you have any question to the country directors? Please.
Thank you, Chair, and the presenters from the International NGOs Forum. I have two quick clarifications that you can make now or later.
They are not from the NGO Forum.
No,
they
are
are
not.
NGO country directors, national.
Yes, thank you.
In essence, they are all foreigners.
Yeah.
Or foreigners or agents
Or they are-
of foreigners.
So
No,
I know
You
you have spoken very well about the potential impact in
Mm.
terms of reduction of funding and the priorities of the international NGOs. I want to ask, of the 5,570 employees, the staff you have, would it be easy for you to quickly segment what percentage are Ugandans that are likely to lose their jobs, if it's possible? It has not come clearly, but it can give us either by actual figure or a percentage. Secondly, it would also be helpful, I think you have committed, I see you sampled 41, to give us the full list of the 120 international NGOs. It might be helpful to persuade, because this decision will be made by members of parliament, including members who are in this committee. Some of them may not be aware that people who are close to them are actually even working in this NGO. So it helps in terms of persuading members who are here and also to see the gravity of probably the decision we are about to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Jonathan. Jonathan Odul, but he's a member, you know, so.
He's intimidating members, Honorable Chair.
Okay, no, he's protected. Odul, you're protected. I don't think that means the presentation was very clear to honorable colleagues.
Yeah.
So respond on that, Odokorach, then we.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Thank you, Honorable Odu. I would say, without any fear of contradictions, because this is factual.
And if there was contradiction?
I would not say it here. I would say 99% of our workforce are Ugandans. And I would say also that if we only look at these numbers that we have reported, it's actually not exhaustive. I will take an example just of Oxfam that I lead. In Oxfam, we are almost 99%. I think we have only one person who is an African who is hosted in Uganda. But if you only look at the numbers that are working at Oxfam, you will miss out on over 60 local and national organizations that we partner with, who employs even more people who are all Ugandans. So in terms of employment now, we are not the only ones who are implementing localization agenda in Uganda. Many of our members are working with partners. Now, if we go down the line, I can be sure, Honorable Member Odu, that one of your relatives could be working with us.
And that's the point I'm making. If you could go back and, give us that information, including listing your local partners that you are
And if you can
supporting.
increase on the sample space. Okay, thank you very much. Now, okay, Honorable Katuntu.
Actually, mine is not a question as such, but we lawyers, we have this formula of interpreting a law. The intention of the legislature, what was the mischief? And there is something which I'm sure everybody is concerned, which affects, I wouldn't have asked the bankers because it doesn't affect them, but I'll ask you because you are the international NGOs, especially some accusations which have been public about you people. And maybe they are the ones that could be leading us to walk this sort of path because of some public perception. And perception is as important as reality, sometimes even worse. So as you go, my prayer to you is, as you execute your duties and functions as NGOs, limit yourself to what is allowable under our law. And that which is not, please keep these international NGOs out of it. Because you remember the most controversial issue we had with some of the international NGOs was about homosexuality, where many of your colleagues were being accused that they were promoting this sort of practice, which was repugnant to a big section of Ugandans. It was offensive. And you know how, Parliament came hard on this. Some reaction of the international NGOs was not good, you remember? So there are aspects like that that now makes a country drag ourselves to what maybe shouldn't be doing, but we need to protect our country. That's the sovereignty, our culture. We need to protect our country, we need to protect our children, because that's not what we are. That is not what we are. Whereas other people, it is cool to use their language, it's cool to be that. Here it is not. And yet, if you have an international NGO and is going to a school, for example, purportedly, and then it has a gospel, it is preaching. Oh no, we have to do this, you people, a boy and a boy is okay. A girl and a girl is okay. You know, it makes some of us who could have been your supporters, very strong supporters, because we know the sort of thing you are doing in terms of employment and even service delivery where government cannot reach. You have reached there. Where government does not have resources, some resources have been provided. So would be your strong supporters. Then that sort of thing happens and we are like, oh, what is this going on? Since you are just an association of those international NGOs, please listen to me when you go back. Try to have honest conversations, because you are making us sometimes take steps which wouldn't be. Very anxious to. I've tried to speak like a preacher, but I hope you gotten the point. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Katuntu. You know, when Parliament of Uganda passed the famous Anti-Homosexuality Act, there was a dissenting view. But this is different. This is Protection of Sovereignty Bill. So I'm not going to allow any, let's limit ourselves to sovereignty, protection. Honorable folks, you are not rebutting Honorable Katuntu. No. Thank you. Thank you. The ayes have it. So if there is no any other thing, we can allow you to take leave. Wilbrod? No, not Wilbrod. Odokoraj.
Chair, allow me to respond to what Honorable Katuntu has raised.
It's more of an advice.
It's a very valid concern.
Absolutely.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
But also I wanted to note, Chair, that about 98% of INGOs are providing life-saving services.
That it goes without saying.
So a very small percentage might be involved in governance issues and perhaps some of the things that you talk about.
Yes.
But the bulk of us are really providing life-saving services in different communities.
That's absolutely. That's why your presentation hasn't attracted any controversy.
Can I add a bit onto that?
Yes.
I think we just came after the Uganda Human Rights Commission, and I've spoken about rights. And I would want to say that in provision of our services to the citizens of Uganda, we do not discriminate anybody in terms of provision, whether because of your gender, whether it's because of your where you come from in the country. So we only, when we are providing water, we provide water for everyone. When we are providing sanitation support, this is how we
By the way, the law we passed, what is addressing,
exactly.
doesn't also discriminate.
Exactly.
If you have live with it, don't promote, don't force it on others. That's what we are saying. Okay. Thank you, Dokorach.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'll ask the Honorable Fox Odoi Olweyo of West Budama, Southwest, North, Southeast to escort my visitors. He's an agent himself. He's a foreign agent. So okay, thank you so much. And I hope we have your contacts. Okay. By any chance, are you Rubombora's daughter? The one of South Africa? Interesting. So you are my daughter too. Okay. Okay. No, Teso, then Fida. Yes. You are going to lead me to making mistakes. I've already pronounced myself. Please, absolutely. In this case, because I got information that these people traveled from Teso, they were here by 9 o'clock. Let's hear from them. After that, FIDA. I absolutely have no problem with you. Teso first, FIDA next. May I know from the clerk, the rest of the groups that are here? Please, register them and let me know. Teso, make a fresh registration of those that are remaining.
Chair.
Excuse me.
Chair, FIDA, excuse me, can we have that microphone for Teso? That is which group? That is Teso. Okay, so we have Teso, we have FIDA, and then which group is that? Which group is that? Chambers, eh?
Yeah, we are International Chambers of Commerce.
Okay. No, I have information that American Chamber of Commerce, and listen to me, please. Either it is your directors, they spoke to Right Honorable Deputy Speaker. He's my boss. He called me here and said, can I arrange for them time on Monday? I said 10 o'clock. And I shared with my co-chair, American Chamber of Commerce. They requested for time on Monday, and we gave them 10 o'clock. American Chambers of Commerce.
Chair,
Are you
can
the
I
one?
clarify? Can I clarify? So we are the International Chambers of Commerce, which has the American Chamber of Commerce, the British Chamber of Commerce, the French Chamber of Commerce, and the Netherlands.
So you, who are you?
The International Chambers of Commerce. So we represent the Americans. Yes.
We'll hear you.
Okay.
Take heart, Teso, FIDA, and you, because you've been here since morning, isn't it? Teso.
But Chair, just by way of procedure.
Yes.
I know we have these stakeholders here, but should also be mindful of our side.
Sure.
Yes,
I hear you.
We need to be here.
Can you imagine it's now it's 4:15, and we've been here since morning. So be considerate also for the team behind you. Use as, especially if something has been talked about, we have captured it. To you? No. Whoever is here, we hear from them. Okay, but don't waste time. When you get a microphone, address as salient issues so that your other colleagues can. Yes.
And members, we before you are a team from Teso.
Can we have order? Yes, have order.
Yeah. Honorable Chair again, and a privilege to appear before you.
Yes.
In response to your invitation for us
Yes.
to make submissions, and we felt, I think this was great. Before you is a team. I will just quickly ask them to mention their names. Just sit, just mention.
You don't need to stand up, just Ogwang Martinaiko.
And the district you come from?
Ngora. Reverend?
My name is Beseri Otekat. I train church leaders, but I also coordinate ACT Forum Uganda. ACT Forum is Africa Christian Transformation. We basically work on ensuring how the church and the community can work together.
Okay.
Thank you.
Engole Cecilia is my name. I come from Katakwi, but our head office is in Soroti.
Soroti, Katakwi. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Pascal Aburiat. I am from the Democratic Front. I live in Soroti City. I'm formerly
Democratic Front?
Yeah, this is a multi-stakeholder team that we have.
You mean the political party?
Yes.
Okay. You're welcome.
I'm by the names of Santos Osekeng. I come from Kedia District.
Okay.
I'm
Welcome.
a chairperson NGO CSOs.
Okay.
Honorable Chair, my name is Tom Ewoku.
Ewoku.
Yes, I am the regional coordinator,
National Economic Empowerment Dialogue, Teso Sub-Region.
Teso Sub-Region, yes.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Julian Sarugu. I work with an organization called Public Affairs Center of Uganda, and we mainly deal with the communities on the issue of accountability.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair and honorable members of Parliament present. My name is Ambrose Omagor, a patriot and a very concerned young person coming from Bukedea. Thank you.
I thought all young persons are concerned. Or should be. Okay. Yes? Mzee Christopher. Okay. Stationed in Ngola. Okay. Thank you. Among in Rebecca.
Chair, for me as a team leader.
So to you all, Emuria Korea. Good. Just like you wanted to be heard, there are several behind you. So be as brief so we give them a chance.
So, Chair, we are not going to...
Chair, just a small, just for the record, I would request the team leader to record the individuals as individuals, concerned individuals, not team from TESO, because you have no proper delegation or representation of a region. So you are Ugandans.
No.
Okay.
So you are not leading a team.
No,
Because
there are different NGOs and civil society organizations in TESO sub-region.
Yes.
Probably after we have submitted.
Okay, first submit.
We don't want to
So
give the
Chair
impression.
has to wait
Excuse me,
on-
Chair.
to be
We-
precise after.
Sir,
Honorable Sivambi.
yeah, we don't want to give the impression that you have no stake or views, but you have no stake or views representing a region.
He's right. You see, what you are saying, it's not, we can't take it that TESO has submitted, because there has not been a referendum on TESO. But we acknowledge that they are civil society organizations, individuals from TESO. Please submit.
So in whichever way, Chair, you take, but we want to say that we are a team from TESO. Last week on Thursday, we had a bigger meeting in order to respond to parliamentary call for submissions. It was a meeting of all the key stakeholders. Not all of us could come here. Probably if we had come here, we would have overwhelmed the place. And we came up with a number of issues which are documented here. And we're not going to repeat what has already been mentioned. We shall just highlight key things which we feel we need to put emphasis. Basically, we came up with the 4 issues of our interest. Issue number 1, when we reviewed the bill together as stakeholders in the region, we found out that the bill attempts to address a silent issue of sovereignty in just a simple act of parliament. For us in the region, we believe that sovereignty is a constitutional matter, and the Constitution is the only document, the only law that can protect our sovereignty. So for us, we felt that trying to push down, coming up with a bill that purports to be protecting sovereignty in its entirety, to us, we not agree. We have articulated that well in the document. So for us, for that matter, we felt that this bill be withdrawn. The issues raised in it are very legitimate. The concerns are clear from the memorandum that we want to protect against. Why not come up with a bill which talks about simply that? Protection of our interests, or whichever way, like others have done. The US has done the same. For them, they say Registration of Foreign Agents Act. They did not say protection of American sovereignty, when simply you are trying to address one aspect of sovereignty. So we feel that this is something you need, and in our paper, we have articulated the concept of sovereignty, how silent it is, how it is well laid in our constitution, how, and many other aspects of self-determination, self-governance, territorial integrity, and many other things which are of concern to us. So we feel the bill should be reviewed and tailored to address a specific aspect of concern. The second issue of concern, the others are there, we would like to go deep. The second issue of concern, we seem to see that the strategy, the focus of the bill, seems to undermine the spirit of republicanism and the ideals for which we stand. Again, Honorable Chair, when you look at what we have shared there, most of the people who presented here actually talked about it. They raised the issue to do with the concentration of power, enforcement powers within the minister, which seems to be going against the ideal for which we stand. The bill imposes a grave threat to the democratic fabric of our country by attempting to use the concept of transparency to actually whip out. So if you read the object, if you read, it says we want to promote transparency within the actors. But indeed, like Human Rights Commission said, it actually goes deeper, more than that. It seeks to control. It seeks to weaponize these weapons, these issues. So we feel this needs to be tempered and addressed to reflect our spirit of republicanism. Uganda is a republic, which simply means it is a government run by the people, for the people, and it's with the people. And Chair, I listened to you before. You said you already know that. And we hope now when you are considering this bill, you make sure that it does not injure our ideals and interests. So a moment to make a law which concentrates the power in one arm. Can you imagine it even says all other departments must now? I was wondering what will happen since they already run under the other. The third issue of concern, Chair, to us, which is already raised, but we are reaching another angle, is the bill seems to concentrate, to focus its attention on regulating and controlling the citizen. The bill portrays that our fear is external influence affecting our governance. But there is nothing in the bill that talks about a foreigner, not even how is it classified. I imagine we imagine probably in TESO that maybe all of foreign interests are dangerous. But what confuses us when you see government hobnobbing with them, we see government signing deals with them. Right now, they are the ones building our standard gauge railway. They are the ones working on our oil, helping us. And then when they are relating with the government, it's okay. But when they start relating with the citizen, it is very dangerous. So this one is not just, the bill seeks to control. There are many provisions there. So I think to us, we feel our recommendation here, Chair, is that Parliament should therefore refer the bill back to government to redefine it to focus on attention on foreigners as foreign agents. Actually, for us, the definition of a foreign agent should be a foreigner who is attempting to work with us to influence the way we work. In basic science, a foreign body in your body is something from outside. It is not a cell that is affected. A cell that is affected is not a foreign agent. It is simply a victim of the work of foreign agents. So we feel that the bill should redefine a definition of a foreign agent to focus. And probably the classification we see in the bill from, I think, Clause 20 and others should now be not on citizen, we need to classify our foreign agents. To us, a foreign agent is now those. That what have they come to do? What is their work? How do they impact on us? Those that are doing good, what do we do with them? How do we? Otherwise, the bill seeks to point them or relating with them as something. So that is our recommendation. Redefine this, send it back, let it be redefined. To redefine the foreign agent as the foreigners who actually, because that is, according to the bill, that is our threat. Finally, to us, the bill threatens to reverse the democratic issues. And I think that one the lawyers handled it effectively. But there is some effect we are trying to bring out here. Number one, the bill is likely to disrupt, offend, and criminalize the work of our religious and cultural institutions. If you look at a number of clauses that are already there, clause 14 to 20 and others. If I give an example for TESO, the ITESO Cultural Union Paramount Chief has ministers from Kenya. Atekeri group spans up to Ethiopia, up to Southern Sudan, and everywhere, and they interact. Now, definitely, I don't know what will happen if one of his ministers is from Kenya. Then when you look at our development arms, if you looked at the church, I'm happy the Reverend is here. Most of our churches have sent missionaries outside. They have sent them to UK, they have sent them to the US, and some of them have come back as bishops after serving there. And now when you say any Ugandan who is out of the country becomes or is classified as a foreigner, what happens? Mama who's seated next to me here, 15 of our family members are outside the country. Recently, she had a challenge with her life. She was operated, but her children supported her. What happens? So we are saying it is most likely to disenfranchise in its current form. So it is also going to affect our businesses. In TESO, there are 4 things that drive our economy. Number 1 is cows, livestock. Number 2 is food. Number 3 is fruits. And then number 4 is general merchandise. Our cows, the main buyers are Dinkas from, they're actually foreigners. So what happens? Our sorghum and produce is being bought on a daily basis by Tanzanians, by Rwandese. If you visited us now, you will get vehicles of all number plates, RA, TZ, what, and so on. So we feel that this will affect that. The other thing, finally, is that we feel that the bill in the way it is offends the East African spirit. God has not defined. We have a common passport. Actually, my passport is reading East Africa. When you look at the definition of how a foreigner is defined here and our relationship, it is basically about...
Very instructive. So you are saying the bill in its current form offends integration efforts?
Yes, completely.
Okay.
And yet we have we have a customs union, flow of labor.
We are heading to federation.
And then you are saying if my daughter is studying in Nairobi, she's already a foreigner. If I go and work there, it's a problem. So within the East African, it offends. Within African context, it offends our Pan-African principles. So there are many other things, but most of them are already mentioned, and we hope to table this.
Thank you very much. Are you Mr. Ochen Benson?
Yes.
Oh, brilliant. We have your contact. Clapping for you is absolutely in order. My neighbor here, Chike, as he is, he was asking me, this is MP from where? Because I think to him, you submit like you are a member of parliament. And you clearly have a clear grasp of the bill. In Baganda speak, would say akapande, wakasoma bulungi. So thank you so much, Teso.
Chair,
and
what
thank you for traveling.
I think what you are saying is simply that the wise men come from.
Now see,
so
me, I was avoiding that.
That is
And when they were coming from east, where were they going? Were they not going to west? You see? Okay, honorable colleagues, anything to our elders from Teso?
Chair, I just want to appreciate the submissions.
Thank you.
He has submitted like a lawyer in the interpretation of the law. I would wish we not mature age. You just clarify that for the record, you just submit your names and your credentials as individuals for it to be captured in our report without a technical objection.
Thank you.
Signature, the book is different.
What do you do, Mr. Okwe?
So I am the Executive Director of Public Affairs Center Uganda. It is an NGO that physically focuses.
You worked for government and retired?
No.
Ever? So you are civil society, pure, 311. We applaud you.
In the House, I know Honorable Odu.
But Odu is from UPC. Sorry, from...
No, certainly we interact.
From Odu.
Even your vice chair, I think we have interacted.
Okay.
And we would like also to recognize the presence of our Member of Parliament here, Honorable Adeke Baju.
I have had quarrels with the Honorable Anna Adeke right from beginning. Now I know why. Anna Adeke, applause.
You know, for us, that
your elders did you proud. Now I know why you wanted us to listen to them. Please, so Anne, escort our visitors. We clap for you. Anna Adeke, please see them off.
I hope you have already received it.
Yes, I have. And your contact is there. Okay, FIDA Uganda. The foreigners will be following, don't mind. Yeah. FIDA. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we are now going to mention those who are here so that you know if you are not on the list, please let us know. We are going to entertain FIDA Uganda, followed by International Chamber of Commerce, followed by Women's Pro Bono Initiative, followed by Buganda Region. I think this must be in Sivambi. Yours is individual. And you're on the list right from the, we'll call you, yeah. Then Uganda tour operators, then Bugisu sub-region and Sebei sub-region. Yes, I have captured you. Is there a group that I have not captured?
Yes, Chair.
No, if you just come and register.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
is here.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Chair,
FIDA Uganda
was here with UPC, UPC went, FDC went, NUP is still here.
Mr. Chair, we've been here since 10, and we informed the clerk of the committee at around that time.
Who is that?
This is Sasmavin National Unity Platform.
I beg your pardon? NUP?
My name is Sasmavin from the National Unity Platform. We've been here since 10, and we are...
No. The name, please.
My name is Sasmavin.
The organization?
National Unity Platform.
NUP?
Yes, please.
Correct. We capture you. FIDA?
Thank
and
you.
please, just do like the TESO did, do even better by using less time.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair and honorable members,
Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to appear before you and to echo and air our views on the bill at hand. My name is Shemeri Caroline. I'm a board member at FIDA. I'll pass on the opportunity to my colleagues to introduce themselves.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Kemijsha. I work with FIDA.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Kindly your attention, please.
Yes, thank you.
My name is Joyce Chirunga. I work with FIDA Uganda.
Welcome. Okay.
Honorable Chair.
Over to you.
Members.
May we know why one of you is not entirely happy? You look
who is not happy?
dejected.
She's
Are you?
also not feeling well.
Okay. Our doctor here, Dr. K. Okay, please.
Honorable Chair and honorable members, we are the Uganda Association of Women Lawyers, FIDA Uganda. And we are a non-government organization, and that's why we took this very seriously, because we know how the bill
please, make your presentation.
So, we have a memorandum, and I believe you have copies. We have segmented it. We have the introduction. We have a little bit of background to give you context on why it is important, why this is important, and the kind of constituency that we serve that it affects negatively. And we also have specific clauses where we're providing some suggestions. We are also suggesting we have some suggestions where we are proposing deletion. But overall, we have a general recommendation, which speaks to the fact that we are requesting and imploring the committee for this bill to be withdrawn. So, as some of you may know, we do our work through legal aid, service provision, we do economic empowerment, we do advocacy, and we do litigation. These are tools that we use to advance the rights of women and girls. Basically, our core mandate is to advance gender equality. And we believe that this bill is a threat to our gains that we have already got in our work advancing gender equality and the things that we could have achieved if the environment is enabling. So by way of background, I would like to mention, please move with me to the background part of the paper. I would like to just point out that the memorandum of the bill itself cited Uganda's ability to self-govern without undue external influence, and indicates that the absence of a specific law to uphold the sovereignty of the country has resulted into continuous interference in the government's policies and programs by foreign countries. Now, honorable members, as you may all know right now, our work is donor-funded. However, yes, let's say perhaps 90%, 95% of our work is donor-funded. And why is this so? We do legal aid provision. We bridge the access to justice gaps. Now, some of our cases include sexual and gender-based violence. You realize that, yes, there's a line ministry that handles this, but most of the work is unfunded by government. So most of this work is left to the NGO sector, to the women rights organizations, and there's no funding. So we get funding from donors. So we bridge the access to justice gap. We go out in communities to let people, women and girls, youth, and everybody, whole community approach basically, to know their rights, to enforce their rights, to promote and protect their rights, to make sure that even the people in the deepest villages in this country can access justice. So without the donors, we are unable to do this. But this is not, we are not promoting donor interests. What we're doing right now is we assess the needs of our communities, and we bring this to the fore and fundraise for them. Now, this bill risks calling our work donor interests or foreign interests. And that's why we are here today to say that if this bill passes, so many of our constituencies, the people we work with, the people we work for, the membership of FIDA, which has over 200 women lawyers in Uganda, all this will just go down the drain. Now, so basically speaking, if I could just give you a synopsis into what our work looks like. We serve, for example, we are in the paper that we have given you, we speak to our work for 2024, because our 2025 report is not yet ready. So you can see that we supported over 21,000 women and girls to access justice. Women and girls who would otherwise not have even seen their day in court. So of these, we have PWDs, we have youth, we have refugees, we have all manner of people in their diversity who are very indigent, who are vulnerable, and who would otherwise not access justice. So what do? Our typical client looks like a mother in a rural district facing domestic violence. But this person will be able to access legal representation through our community legal volunteers that we work with. We have a network of them across the country in the areas where we work. So these ones prevent escalation of abuse. They secure protection orders. They basically stabilize communities and homes. Some of our clients include women who have land disputes, who have been displaced or evicted by investment expansion. And through our legal aid support, you see that they will be able to reclaim part of their properties. And we have some numbers there to show you how much we have been able to collect and to recover in terms of land and property. And this was done in 2024. And 2025 is actually even higher. We have low-income households where maintenance enforcement leads to so much money that has been directly collected.
Procedure, Chair.
Procedure.
Chair, with due respect to our sisters from FIDA.
Yes.
And in the interest of time, owing to the fact that various stakeholders are still available to be listened to, I call upon you, through you, Chair, let maybe the CEO or the representative from FIDA take us through the nitty-gritties of the bill and point on clause by clause. We are aware about what you've done. You have done a tremendous work on ground. But let's go to the bill direct.
Okay. Thank you.
Noted, Honorable Chair.
So
yes,
please,
that is
just
order,
specific.
So,
your
yes.
mandate you have highlighted,
okay.
It's understood.
Yeah,
So
okay, thank
quickly.
you very much. What I just wanted to bring to the attention of the committee is that quite a number of people will be affected.
If the witness does not drive and point us to the number of beneficiaries and how they might be affected, how will we then make a decision? Or you will force me to ask again. Me, I like it because when I write a report, I know if we make this law this way, FIDA is going to be affected, 21,000 women are going to be affected, the 2,000. So you are, in my opinion, actually like those data, that statistic, so that I don't ask again at some point.
But that is the one paragraph statement.
Okay. All right. I'll move on in the interest of time, but just to draw the picture that behind us, behind just the 3 women seated before you, there are a host of other women in all their diversities that are going to be affected with this law passes. So we just want the committee to know that this is not just a law, it should not be looked at as a law, but when our work is affected and is at risk of being shrinked, the civic space is already shrunk. So if it is further constrained at the risk of being criminalized, then that means so many other people will be affected.
Procedure, Chair. Yeah, I want to agree with Honorable Mulima Mayuni. We know FIDA and we know the work you do and how crucial it is. But we are saying that in the circumstances, time is not our best ally. So if we could address the issues in the bill, it would be more helpful, and it would also put into consideration other people who are on the queue. There is no need to justify the importance of your work and the scope. We have grown up hearing about FIDA. We are beneficiaries. We've seen how it helps.
FIDA, just straight to the bill.
All right.
And where you find the
yes. So
problems.
I'll now move on to
Thank
the
you.
review of key clauses.
And quick, give a chance to others
Yes,
also.
yes. Much obliged. Much obliged. Makes a lot of sense, and it's good. It's already on paper. So we shall move on to clause 1, which speaks to the interpretation. I don't want to belabor the point because this has been talked about by everyone who has presented. So, and where we use the term agent of a foreigner, and then the definition of a foreigner. So we believe that if this passes, definitely, we who are donor dependent, who are working towards the advancement of gender equality, will then be branded as foreigners, and this is why this is risky to us and our constituents as a whole. So when there's also a broad definition on disruptive activities, Mr. Chair. Our work stands the risk of being called disruptive activities. We work in communities, we mobilize civic rights, you know. So if this passes, our work that pertains to gender equality, you know, we live in a patriarchal society. Yes, and we live in a patriarchal society. So this bill brings in contention foreign interests and Ugandan interests. This is a predominantly patriarchal society where certain norms are not frowned upon. And we've been working towards this inheritance of women, marrying young girls that are not yet...
Is that addressed in the bill?
It's not addressed in the bill, but I'm saying at the risk of our work, which works towards advancing gender equality.
Tell you that you have a very good document here, which you are failing to stick to.
Great.
For example, you even propose that the term foreign agent be changed to recipient of external donor support. That's very beautiful.
Okay, I was just giving the context of why disruptive activities is. Okay, moving on.
You want to speak of CAF, but it takes
No,
you
no,
off
Chair.
again.
Okay, all right
stick
then.
to your document.
Okay, the recommendation for the interpretation section that we have is in case the bill must pass, if the assessment is done that the bill is out of necessity, it must pass, we are suggesting that instead of foreign agents, this is changed to recipients of external donor support. And we are also suggesting that Ugandan citizens residing outside Uganda be excluded from the definition or the term of foreigner. We are also suggesting that Clause E from definition of disruptive activities be deleted. So Clause 2, which is regarding the application of the bill, so we also have some suggestions there. And we're recommending that the term agent of a foreigner under Clause 2.1, Subclause 1 be replaced with recipients of external donor support. And Clause 2, Subclause 2, and Subclause 3 be deleted. Now with that, Honorable Chair, allow me pass on the microphone to my colleagues to take us from there.
All right, thank you so much, Carol. And for me, it's really, I'm not going to belabor what the other members or the other lawyers have mentioned, but it's at Clause 3 and 4 on the administration of the Act by the department responsible for peace and security. We feel that there's already an NGO Act that already administers this, and granting the department responsible for peace and security under the Ministry of Internal Affairs, this power is going to give it arbitrary power to determine which organizations' activities are suitable and which ones are unsuitable. Now, when you look at this, ideally, we already have a law in place. So, when we push for rationalization, and again, at a certain point, we are pushing for the separation of certain bodies, we are looking at this in this particular way. So what we are saying is we recommend that this be deleted from the bill, as the registration regime under the NGO Act is a sufficient measure for the documentation and monitoring of NGOs, and we have been seeing it being implemented at the moment. Then when it comes to the that is Clause 5, the sovereignty of the people, and people have defined what sovereignty is under the Constitution, but also different purviews under which it's usually applied. So when you talk about criminalization and sanction of engagement in any activity that promotes the interests of a foreigner as against the interests of Ugandans. So already we have a clause that states disruptive activities that is clearly ambiguous and undefined, which ideally means that you're putting feeder, and I wanted to define myself. In the event that the bill passes, I'll already be a foreign agent. That means my organization and I could actually be already charged under this law, but also this particular penalty. So the recommendation under this is Clause 5, 3, and Clause 4 of the bill be deleted. Just trying to be precise. Then of course, Clause 6, exercising functions and services for which government is responsible, where we prohibit and say that The offense is punishable by a fine of up to Ugandan shillings 400 million for legal entities and a fine of 200,000 or imprisonment of up to 20 currency points for individuals for an agent of a foreigner to exercise any of the functions specified in the 6th schedule of the Constitution. Now, I wanted to draw your attention to the fact that this particular provision it leads us to the 6th schedule of the Constitution. Under the 6th schedule of the Constitution, one of the things that it provides for is national surveys. Now, as NGOs, we are doing our work. We do what is called context-based implementation, where you go to the ground, collect data, and sometimes we move faster than government does. So if we are going to find permission from government to actually collect that data, there is a lot that is at risk. There is a lot of things that continue to emerge in the community. And at the moment, there's a lot of, we're talking about technology facilitated gender-based violence, there's climate. So by the time government comes through, sometimes they have already collected the data, we have bridged the gap, and sometimes they depend on us for that particular data. So our recommendation under this would be the same be deleted from the bill. It's ambiguous, but also it limits our power as provided for in the Constitution. Then, of course, when it comes to clause 8 and 10, criminalization of implementation of government policy, promotion of foreign policy. Now, like the previous NGOs and other parties have mentioned, there's a lot of work that government usually provides for but does not cost. You're going to find a lot of national action plans that have not been costed, that have not been budgeted for. So it, for example, means the NGO sector is the one going to do this work. And not to say that I'm doing advocacy, but if you've looked at the amount of money that the DCDOs, these are the District Community Development Officers, who are ideally supposed to do mindset change, raising awareness on succession law, marriage, etc. The budget, if it's broken down, sometimes it's to a tune of just 150,000 per parish. Now, if we are going to raise awareness on these particular laws, especially when it comes to disinheritance, succession, it ideally means that we are actually going to be going against the government when it comes to promoting government policy. So what we tend to think is the bill was drafted in a very rushed manner. There was not a lot of consultation, but also it's very broad. The provisions are clearly very broad. They need to be narrowed down. And just like my teacher over there on the left, when we're doing a lot of legislative drafting, we need to define the letter of the law and what it provides for. We need to be clear. Here? Yes, our teacher is on the left.
The Honorable Gumite.
Yeah, the Honorable Nsivambi. Yes, so really. Then, of course, on the prohibition of economic sabotage, there's a lot of work ongoing on business and human rights, and there's a lot of work that we have a lot of projects that are onboarding when it comes to the big, like Clinker in Karamoja, you have the big mining projects happening. And a lot of this, sometimes the extractive industry affects our women, our girls, our children, and sometimes we need to call out government. So if each time you call out government, it's called economic sabotage. Ideally, that's limiting my right to information, my right to express my... For the woman who would ideally get compensation if she's muzzled. So what we would think of is, one, we recommend that the clauses 8 and 10 of the bill be deleted. Thank you.
FIDA, that was good. Oh, you want to add on?
Yes,
please.
We had a general comment that we thought would share, and these particular recommendations.
General recommendation?
Yes.
Okay, please.
That, like my colleague Carol said, if by any chance this bill gets to see the light of day, because that's what we are here really to just lobby for, if this comes to see the light of day, we are proposing for some of these particular reviews, as you had guided earlier for the teams that were presenting. We are proposing that there should be explicit exemption of essential services. My two colleagues have spoken about the series of activities that we do in the field, but because we do not have time, we couldn't perhaps paint a better picture for you for what's happening. But I'm glad my colleague Joyce spoke about the budget for CDOs. We sit here in Parliament, approve things, programs like PDM, but the CDO has 150,000 for a whole parish for a month.
We
So
have,
what do they do?
increased
They depend
it.
on FIDA, they depend on Uganet, depend on many other NGOs in these districts that do work. So we really think that we should make, if this bill sees the light of day, to be included on the list of exempt essential services. I must remind the committee today that Uganda currently does not have the National Legal Aid Bill that would afford every Ugandan citizen, regardless of their background, their economic status, a lawyer. And that means that many Ugandans, and we saw this during COVID, were actually running to FIDA to be represented for free and other legal aid service providers like the Uganda Law Society. So if push comes to shove, we are praying the committee considers an exemption of a list and that legal aid service providers like ourselves that are legally
So
registered.
essential service providers be exempted from this.
The second one is
that include but not limited to FIDA, faith-based organizations.
Yes.
Now others will also say tour operators.
All right.
Anyway,
yes, mandatory sorry. The other is mandatory regulation impact assessment. That's prior to the enactment. A comprehensive regulatory impact assessment should be undertaken incorporating gender, youth, access to justice indicators, and many of the other vulnerable services that many Ugandans, we all know, are unable to access right now because of the shortfalls in the budget and especially things to do with service provision in this country. And I know that RIAs have been done. I was part of a process that drafted the National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights, which was the second in Africa and the first in Uganda. And the RIA did a lot of forming of foundation on why we need business and human rights legislation and what it interferes with and what value the government misses when we do not have a policy on business and human rights. Thirdly, and the second last, is we're also recommending independent oversight mechanisms. I know that when the Uganda Bankers Association was presenting, there was a member of the committee that asked how do they deal with issues like when you receive money and you think this money is going to be used for something illegal or something scriptless. And I think the Bankers Association did initially also explain, but they also explained something that I found very important, and Joy did speak about it, the fact that we are placing the power under this ministry. Honorable members of parliament, we are all Ugandans and we have been here long enough to see how things happen. Why the red tape again?
Okay.
Lastly, and not in any way least, we are also proposing that there should be a proportionate and rights complaint penalties, that any sanctions that are introduced under the law should be proportionate with financial penalties capped at a maximum of 100% of the funds in question and accompanied by a clear right of appeal in line with regional standards under the East African Community Treaty and principles of fair administrative actions. My brothers and sisters from TESO did speak about what we are doing with the East African community and the other regional bodies, and this particular bill is really one of the attacks we see to all the efforts that Uganda has invested in at that level. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. A round of applause for the FIDA. Thank you. I can assure you, Honorable Arunit, you... Okay. Yes, then the teacher.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
I would also like to appreciate what FIDA is doing, because one, they say they have supported around 21,000 people, if I got it right. And most of your funding, or your support is from NGOs world and the external funding, where you fear that we are going to be considered as agents of foreigners. So I wanted to ask you a question. Suppose the government caters for your budgetary needs, would you support this bill?
Yes. Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I do not think that we would still be in support of the bill because we know that your question is more of ideal. We have been in this state for how long? We have seen budgets come and go. We know that humanly it's impossible for the government at the moment to provide for all the services. And if anyone is in its agreement, we have the budget, we have budgets of different committees, budgets of different, what are they called? Agencies of government. We know we do not have enough money to do these things. It has never been there. So for me, because of that, outside me fighting for my job right now in this committee, I'm fighting for many other women.
You are very correct. Government is also fighting for its job, for information. So
It's fighting to get me out of the job plus 100.
no, they're also fighting that you don't get them out of their job. So it's a clash. Honorable Sibambi.
Chair, I have no regrets why I stayed longer here.
You see?
Because I can see
your product.
My product is a dream team.
Wow.
When they came in.
So we actually reserved the best for the last.
Exactly.
You see?
Yeah, but I just have two concerns. Of course, they are talking with the lenses of their body feeder. But we also have a dilemma to do with individuals almost purporting to carry out the same functions. How do you regulate such people? Because when you change the definition to recipient of donor funds, now you're looking at funds. But even words can influence and can cause chaos, even economic sabotage, without money coming in. If you go to the European Parliament and you say elections in Uganda are bogus, were rigged, investors will not come in such an environment. But you have an independent electoral commission which said it was free and fair. You have a court. You did not, if you are dissatisfied, you did not go to court. But the European Union passes resolutions and summons government officials. There's no exchange of money, so you definitely have to get a broad definition. What kind of definition beyond money, recipient of funds? Then the regulation talked about the NGO Act. Specifically is clear. So if you're not an NGO and you're an individual, which legal regime is going to handle such a situation? And then lastly, what is the role of government in the matters to do with peace, security, economy? You have a fiscal policy and people are bringing in money, you don't know the source, but it's influencing the economy. Now, what is your role as government?
Thank you, Chair. I also want to thank FIDA, and actually I'm happy that they are doing some good work in Namayingo regarding land issues, people in disadvantaged areas like islands where I come from, mining areas. I wanted them to really elaborate on the issue, and I think it was raised by the AG, and Chair, you also raised it in the morning, regarding clear testimony that those NGOs, those organizations that complement the government in line with the national objectives, for example, land issues, for example, working with orphans, working with the disadvantaged members of the community, are not affected by this law. I wanted them to look at it, yes or no, and then how best can we refine? Do you think we can bring in another clause specifically to address this issue?
Thank you so much.
Okay, you are going to respond. His question relates to the Attorney General's assertion and submission that this clause is strictly, that the bill strictly affects people affected under Clause 2 of the bill. So, according to the Attorney General, anyone else, organization, individuals, multinational companies, who are not within the purview of Clause 2, they have no business to do with this bill. That's according to the Attorney General. So you answer that in respect to Honorable Keo's. You can now give responses.
Thank you so much, honorable members, for the questions. And the first question was on if someone is not an organization, how else are they regulated? Now, there are various regulatory regimes, and I can say, for instance, the Anti-Money Laundering Act is not just something that touches NGOs. It's also for individuals. There's the Anti-Terrorism Act. Yes, they are not just NGOs, they are also individuals. So the banks themselves are given a lot of mandate to freeze our accounts. I, for example, had a time when my account was frozen, not on the feeder side, but on another side. And so I can assure you, for example, that it's not just organizations. The government already has checks and balances, and so there's really no need for another law. And it's just the issue of Uganda where we have so many laws and the implementation is not there. What about, like Simon in the morning stated, we implement what is at hand? And the agencies are already doing their work, because to actually obtain money, you need the anti-money laundering certificate, you need the data protection certificate, you need a myriad of documents at the moment. And the NGO Act is quite comprehensive if you take time to study it. Thank you.
Responses?
So on the second question, and this is where we tend to disagree with the AG, to look at interpretation in itself. If the law is unclear for anyone outside there, and we have to take a lot of time to actually interpret it, that means we are going to have a court of law interpret the law in itself. So I tend to disagree with the Attorney General when it comes to the clear interpretation of Clause 2 of the Act, and state that it actually pertains and touches the work that we do. And why I state this is when you're looking at the law, you look at the literal interpretation in itself. And what is the literal interpretation when you look at this particular law? Are we going to look at all the other laws? But also when you look at the object of the bill, what is it particularly trying to cure? So I tend to disagree with the Honorable Attorney General on this, and clearly state that the law ideally applies to us and terms us as foreign agents.
So it is your take that Clause 2 affects you?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. We want to thank you for coming, and I think we can discharge you. Thank you. If there is anything else, you can submit next week. Well, so next is the next team is from International Chamber of Commerce. Okay, International Chamber of Commerce is not ready. Can we have NUP? Oh, okay. So next is NUP. Which group is that?
Honorable Chair.
No, two operators are here, but you are number 5.
Yes. Honorable Chair.
Can I read again the list that I have
Chair,
here?
kindly go through the list because Vugisu is here waiting, and
FIDA
I'm
is
here.
moving out. We have International Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
We had Women's Pro Bono Initiative, which has agreed to come on Monday.
Yes.
So they have put NUP. Then we have Uganda region.
Kindly consider those who are going.
Then we have Uganda tour operators. Then we have Bugisu. We have Sebei. And then Professor Ansibambi will come last. And he has been here since morning. Yes?
Chair, the question of being here, we've all been here.
Yeah. Personally, Chair, we came in before NUP, and some of us have come in from Windy. Windy. Yes. So to take one out and replace them with someone at the bottom is not fair.
Let's have the International Chamber as we navigate your concern. Yeah.
All right. Good evening, Chair and Co-Chair and the members of the committee. My name is Omumbeja Evelyn Zalwango. I am the General Manager of the American Chamber of Commerce. We are here to present our written submission for the protection of the Sovereignty Bill 2026. We are representing the American Chamber of Commerce, Uganda, the British Chamber of Commerce, Uganda, the French Chamber of Commerce, Uganda, the Netherlands Uganda Trade and Investment Forum. So with this bill, Chair, if it is passed, we are foreign agents in the way we are seated here. So on that note, yes, we are foreign agents, but since we are Chair, we are yes foreign agents, but our role as chambers, we represent investors in this country, and our role is to promote bilateral trade between Uganda and our representative countries. So on that note, I would like to my colleagues to introduce themselves, and then we can be able to go forward.
Thank you very much. Honorable Chair and members, my name is Remy Wahanze. I am a lawyer. I work for Taslaf Advocates, but also the law firm is a member of all the international chambers of commerce. So clearly for all those advocates in here, if your law firm is a member of the chambers of commerce, then by the definition of the current form of the law, we all then become agents of foreigners. So it's a pleasure to be here. I will hand over to my colleague.
Good evening, Chair, and all members present. My name is Immaculate Buko, and I'm the General Manager for the British Chamber of Commerce. We represent the different international businesses, British and other relevant international businesses in Uganda, and our goal or our role is to promote bilateral trade between British and international businesses. Thank you very much. I'll give it over to my colleague. So, Chair, just to give context, all the 4 chambers have 281 members, and those are companies, international companies who are multinationals, Ugandan companies that have an affiliation to all those countries, companies that are registered and owned by those international investors, and also companies that are exporters and importers from all those international countries. So in all, we are 281 members, and we employ over 300,000 Ugandans in this country. So we've come up with our recommendations from that. A lot of the points were taken, and we acknowledge that. But we're just going to pick at least about 4 or 3 that were not talked about, and we just want to highlight those. So I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our legal counsel to be able to highlight those.
Thank you very much. Honorable Chair and members, of course, as you may have received our memo or our written submission, we will focus more on Section 3 and the last section, which regards the recommendations. Honorable Chair and members, again, as my senior colleague, as my senior colleague, senior counsel, not yet senior counsel, but Honorable Mr. Philip Karugaba highlighted, this bill, and I think I again disagree with the Attorney General as per his agreement or his submissions regarding Clause 2 of the bill. It's very clearly written, especially Clause 2B, which states that for the avoidance of doubt, this act applies to an agent or a foreigner who engages in any of the following activities: solicits, collects, disburses, or dispenses contributions, loans, money, or other things of value for or in the interest of a foreigner. So that, of course, in itself puts us directly in line for it, which is justifiably so, since we represent foreign capital investors. But we wanted to highlight a few things, including what is at stake with respect to if this bill is passed the way it is in its current form. And we wanted to highlight that Uganda's, it's literally incongruent to Uganda's interests, especially the NDP, the National Development Plan, and the Tenfold Strategy, which essentially seeks to drive Uganda's growth from a GDP of $50 billion average to about $500 billion. And we see that the bill is going to have a chilling effect on all of those investors, especially the DFIs like FMO, the CDC, the British International Investment, which has really invested in UDB,
DFCU, and all those other financial institutions in the country that in turn inject capital to the local SMEs and in turn grow the economy. And so our colleagues of the UBA have highlighted a couple of things, and specifically regarding the correspondent banking risk, which I will not belabor to explain, but I think they were aptly put in that. I think one of the things that perhaps the Honorable Mulima Mayuni highlighted, which was with respect to the $400 million threshold, in itself is very, very limiting, especially given the fact that for some of the organizations we represent, which are, say, investors and people who invest through local fund managers, usually do a couple of things, including annual equity contributions, internal intercompany loans and shareholder loans, management fees and the like, and all of those are being subjected to scrutiny under this bill. We find that the provisions might be onerous for them, and we seek certain recommendations. I think one of the points that hasn't been discussed by all the stakeholders in this room is regarding the bilateral investment treaties we have across the board with these various international chambers or international or countries. We have a bilateral treaty with Netherlands, and we have another with the United Kingdom and the European Union. And all of those highlight for fair and equitable treatment standards in the same manner for each and everyone who comes to invest in the country. I was just tracking a number a few hours ago with my colleague, and I highlighted that maybe, I think since the investments, or since investors came, or foreign investors started doing investments in this country, I'm more than certain that it's more than just $1 trillion, more than $1 trillion that have been invested.
If you
creating
can
jobs.
direct us to a particular clause.
Yes.
That offends the bilateral investment agreements.
Yes, I'm actually getting there. So I think we'll probably head to part 9 regarding our proposed recommendations, and specifically the amendment we are seeking is with respect to the bilateral investment treaties. So that's Amendment 6, and the concern with that, the concern we have with it is that the bill contains no savings clause preserving Uganda's bilateral investment treaty obligations or investors' rights under Section 25 of the Investment Code Act. So what happens when an investor comes in this country is that they're supposed to obtain a certificate, right? So an investor certificate. But what happens with this bill is that you're then supposed to register as an agent of as a foreign agent, or as a foreigner in that effect. So actually as a foreigner. So if you register as a foreigner, the bill in its broad and almost onerous nature has not stated a timeline that ensures that this person, on top of getting their investment certificate under the Uganda Investment Code, there's no period. So it's an open window. So once a foreigner comes, and the moment they begin transacting or carrying out business, there's no timeline for them to get that certificate, and as a result, then they will be impugned by the 20-year sentence and the $4 billion penalty. I think, does that answer your question? Oh, thank you. So we have highlighted that the 400 million threshold in itself is very low, especially given, personally, I've worked as a lawyer and as an investment banker. And what we see in terms of capital drawings, especially for investors, is that, yes, they commit the capital, because I've worked with local investment banks and private equity funds. They commit the capital, but then the capital is not, it could be domiciled here, but there are supposed to be drawings at every quarter. And so if you're making a drawing of 100,000 every time, and then you have to do this compliance obligation, it becomes extremely onerous for the directors to be able to carry out those duties, among all the other, because Uganda on the investment map is a very small, and it becomes hard for them to...
Gentlemen, sorry because I missed your name.
My name's Remy.
Finance has absolutely nothing to do with this clause you're citing, or any other.
Pardon?
It's not applicable here.
Where? Yes? Which provision, Honorable Chair? Yes.
Yeah.
No, there's, let me just read the clause verbatim, if you permit me. The clause is saying that application.
Which clause is that?
Clause 2.
Yes.
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 For the avoidance of doubt, this act applies to an agent of a foreigner who engages in any of the following activities through any means, including the use of a digital platform. And I'll focus on subclause B. B, C, D, actually B, D, yes. And reading, the first says, solicits, collects, disburses or dispenses contributions, loans, money or other things of value in the interest of a foreigner. So most of our investment funds are literally doing the
But
same.
you said, you correctly mentioned that these are bilateral, state to state.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's
no.
not applicable.
With respect to those, we actually have an argument for each of those. But with respect to bilateral treaties, what we are saying is that because they are bilateral treaties and under the International Court for Settlement of Investment
Bilateral
Disputes-
investment treaties.
Yes.
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 I have
If
been
it's-
involved in drawing
Yes.
them.
Yes.
Yes.
And respectfully, you're my senior colleague. With respect to the International Court for Settlement of Investment Disputes,
yes.
If a company is coming up, you know that companies can take countries to the ICSID court. So what we are saying is that if this company is operating in Uganda, right, and there is an aspect of it having to, in terms of its capital, having to register as a foreigner, right, that in itself becomes problematic for the state if they have been brought in the country to operate.
No. Investment purely governed under the Investment Act and is completely, it has nothing, it doesn't apply here.
Yeah.
These are different funds altogether.
No, but what we are looking at under the Investment Code Act is really, so anyway, thankfully you have highlighted that. So we hope that there will be some changes in the breadth.
Without interrupting, because he's raising a very good and novel point, would you suggest an amendment that polishes here specific? Because for you to perform this bill, when you look at the spirit, the long title, you are insulated. But you can suggest something to be clear. Huh?
Yes.
I'm sorry. No, he's not in a court of law. He's just helping the drafting process.
Honorable Sibambi, you are protected.
Yes,
Please.
Again, thankful to Honorable Simambi for the guidance. Honorable Simambi also, I'm sure, very familiar with this, having been a banking lawyer himself. But I think maybe then now we'll speak amendments.
Okay.
And these amendments are on Section 9 of our proposal or our written submission. And specifically, what we are seeking, especially from Amendment 1, again, which you have highlighted as the committee and made it clear, to exempt the Investment Code Act registered investors from Clause 22. Yes. The second one, so I'm not going to have to explain that at length because it's already clear. The second one is a prescribed timeline for ministerial approval, which again in itself affects the first. So if someone is being registered as a foreigner, there needs to be a timeline. And we are seeking that that timeline is set out and specifically regarding
Do you
Clause
want
22.
that in the Act or in the regulations?
In the Act, would like a clause to be a new subsection that states out that the minister shall determine an application within a certain period of time as it is put in the Investment Code Act. The Investment Code Act puts 14 days. We are seeking a certain time period that might be in congruence with this law. Amendment 3, which we are seeking, is on raising the funding threshold, and I think this has been...
Yes, Honorable Keo.
Because it was an issue we also raised. What would you give us? 3 months, 6 months, 6 days?
Yes,
What do
so
you propose?
our proposal is 21 days. And I'll just give you...
21 days. Okay.
I'll just give you
21 working days.
Should I go to the length why it should be 21 days?
No. That's your proposal.
Okay, no problem. But really, the investment cycle usually happens that way. So if an investment committee sits and they make an investment, they commit to making an investment, what happens is that within a certain period of time, you're expected to have disbursed those funds. So the 21 days is a window within the 60-day period that investors usually provide for fund managers.
I can add, without being your lawyer, that we are dealing with a formal institution which has record, which has returns. That's a different matter. But when you're dealing with someone you don't know, you don't just run away under.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sivambi. So the other amendment we are seeking is exempting routine commercial transactions from Clause 25 pre-authorization. The reason why we are seeking this amendment is because the pre-authorization required under Clause 25 is likely to be long and strenuous, especially for things like processing trade finance, salary payments, and routine intercompany transfers. That, I think, has been discussed laboriously in our memo, and we hope the committee will look into it. Amendment 5, regarding Bank of Uganda primacy and the safe harbor, and specifically it re-endorses the recommendations made by the Uganda Bankers Association. So the Bank of Uganda, and I think you will know in our final recommendations to the committee, in this case, there's a bypass that has been created. And so since it regulates most of the banks, but also now we have the Capital Markets Authority regulating the funds, we need for a provision to be inserted. And I think we've highlighted a primer of a clause that needs to be inserted. When we look at Amendment 6 on the BIT and exit savings clause, what we are seeking is regarding the International Court for Settlement of Investment Disputes and the bilateral investment treaties to be set out a clause that saves or preserves bilateral investment treaty obligations or investor rights under Section 25 of the Investment Code Act. And the intent requirements under clauses 10, 12, and 13, those ones have been discussed at length even by the human rights people, that if there are offenses that have been set out, we are seeking that they do not purely become strict liability offenses given in light of how the investment process works. And even for the chambers, if the chamber is organizing a trade rules discussion that is in contravention of some of the policy as highlighted within this this bill, it's important for us to, discuss it or sort of like put a provision that exempts that. And the other element which we are deeming as director liability from Clause 23.3 is that there's a strict personal criminal liability for every director and executive director of a company that commits an offense under Clause 23 without any requirement to prove personal knowledge, authorization, or participation. So it's, again, if you read into it, and I'm sure Honorable Sivambi, who's a corporate law lecturer, might relate, the clause in itself does not bifurcate the responsibility of the director, him acting as a person, and the company. So we are seeking that it is looked into, whether there is a deletion or an amendment. The last amendment which we are seeking is a transitional period. And we are seeking that Bill number 13, the bill of course contains no transitional periods. We are seeking that there should be a period set out. I don't know if the members will agree that a 12-month period is... we are very alive to Clause 13 on economic sabotage, but we are seeking a transition period because some of our investors have already committed capital, which is in the north of 50 billion and the like, and we are finding ourselves in a difficult place.
What would be the 1 year for?
Yes?
To allow them to repatriate?
No, not really. Okay, that's a sharp one. I think you bring in a very brilliant angle with respect to what can happen potentially. But I mean, if we're to keep capital locally domiciled with a lot of confidence of our investors, then we need to allow them, again, as I said, so maybe put something that register, and then we'll give you a window, like the CMA has done.
Thank you. I think you're done.
Just a couple of consolidated requests, about 5.
Okay.
We would like the 10 amendments to be adopted that we have proposed. We are seeking that the committee, I don't know if they have done it before in the consultation, but we are seeking that the committee invites the Uganda Investment Authority to give their opinion. We are seeking that the committee invites the Bank of Uganda to as well do the same,
That
and the
is
Capital
already-
Markets Authority.
That's lined up.
Yes.
In fact, they are appearing next week.
Thank you, thank you. And we are grateful. I think the 4 chambers, and on behalf of those chambers, we are committed to Uganda's economic development and to the bilateral commercial and investment relationship between Uganda and our member countries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. A round of applause. And members interjected, so they asked all the questions. Now, the 2 operators.
Thank you, Chair.
First of all, you are foreigners. You bring in foreigners.
No, we are agents.
Okay. Very
We're
clear. I
agents
like
of
that.
Foreigners. According to your bill.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Members of the honorable members of the committee.
Somebody, Kahonda, please escort the international chamber. Yes.
I know.
Uh-huh. Okay, tour of operators.
Chair,
Yes.
being an agent of a foreigner, I'm very time conscious.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been here for too long. So we're losing business on the outside. Allow me to be very fast if I can.
Please, please.
And bear with me. But before I start, the Honorable Fox Odoy and the Honorable Nsibambi should be on this side.
Uh-huh. Declaration of
they are conflicted.
interest. Because they are also foreign agents.
They are agents of agents.
Agents of foreigners.
Yes. My name is Siveti Musime, and I'm going to ask the members I came with to introduce themselves.
Thank you.
I'm the chair of the Association of Uganda Tour Operators. There are 1,600 tour operators in this country.
Good evening, honorable members and people present. My name is Dennis Ntege. I'm a tour operator, and I live on the Nile.
Yes, Ntege.
Good evening, honorable members of parliament. My name is Matilda Iremera, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer for the Association of Uganda Tour Operators.
Your name is Matilda?
Matilda Iremera.
Iremera.
Thank you.
Okay.
Very quickly, I'd like to explain why we are affected by the Protection of the Sovereignty Bill 2026, and start with the Attorney General's assertion that the reason of Clause 2.2, that tourism agents through their agents are foreigners, through their agents, are agents of foreigners, are not covered by the Protection of the Sovereignty Bill. If you look at that Clause 2.2, it says that for the avoidance of doubt, the Act applies to an agent of a foreigner, and Clause B says solicits, collects, disperses, dispenses contributions, loans money, and other things of value for or in the interest of a foreigner. That's a tourist.
That's a tourist.
Yes. So we as tour operators...
Wow. Read it again.
Solicits, collects,
Yes.
disperses,
Yes.
or dispenses contributions, loans, money, or other things of value for or in the interest of a foreigner.
Yeah, but for what purpose?
Let me explain myself. So our business is to go out there and look for tourists.
Your business is to go out and look for foreigners.
Okay. We're not looking for them in Uganda, so they're foreigners.
Yes, of course.
So we go all over the world and we invest our money to find these tourists. And this is why we need to be protected from this bill, because we make an investment into getting that money back, the foreign exchange back. So when we get these, and please give me the time to explain myself so that you understand. And when we get this money, we lock in agents on contract basis. It's on contractual basis. And they send money in lump sums. So they say, we're sending you 7 groups, and they'll send you $200,000 or $300,000. And what does this do to us? It says every month I must run to the Ministry of Internal Affairs to get clearance. For doing what? For employing 700,000 Ugandans, because our sector employs 700,000 Ugandans. Directly. It employs about 1,000, in particular, it employs about 1,000 tour guides. There are 1,600 tour operations registered. There are over 4,000 hotels in this country, all employing Ugandans. Now, the tour operations in this country, less than 10% of them are foreign owned.
I beg your pardon?
Less than 10% of tour operations in this country are foreign-owned.
Meaning the majority
Are Ugandan-owned.
Ugandan-owned.
They're local companies.
Yes.
And most of them are small and medium enterprises.
Mm.
Some of them ranging between the ages of 3 and 30 years. We don't actually qualify you to be a licensed to operate until you've hit the 3-year mark.
Mm.
So we're very particular with our regulation. So this particular bill and clause 2.2 literally says that the standard tour operator is an agent of a foreigner, the foreigner being the tourist, or the foreigner being the agency that supplies us with the tourists. Now let me give you some statistics. We bring in 1.7 billion US dollars as of 2025. We employ 700,000 Ugandans. Okay? And we have 1.65 million tourists coming into this country. I think it's only right that we are exempted from asking for permission to employ Ugandans. And please allow me to take you through our key concerns. Who qualifies? And I'm going to be very brief and ask specific questions. You can deliberate on those questions later in your free time when you're going to bed. It's really up to you. Who qualifies as an agent of a foreigner in ordinary tourism transactions? Okay? And my questions are, as per this bill, do routine client payments by themselves of foreign origin amount to foreign support? Number 2, do commercial contracts with international partners, the ones that supply us with tourists, amount to or create agency relationships? Number 3, could participation in global tourism networks impose additional regulatory obligations? Each of these possibilities hinges on what control, direction, and responsibility actually reside with that operator versus the foreign party. We need to realize that in tourism, we sell the experience. We sell your country. But in actual, the good we sell is your experience. So the control, the direction, and the responsibility, are they with the operator on ground, the Ugandan, or with the foreigner, and without clear boundaries? So there are no clear boundaries with your bill. Number 2, at what point in approval is approval required for foreign-linked transactions? And again, I ask some questions.
Please.
Is it before entering into a contract? Is it before receiving funds? Is it after a threshold is reached cumulatively? Or is it on per transaction or annual basis? This is not clear at all. We highlight this issue because uncertainty regarding timing creates operational risk. Businesses may either delay transactions pending approval. I want you the tourism industry is very time sensitive. So if somebody says, I want to come to Uganda, I must lock them up, lock them in immediately. And I want to tell you that there's no reason why they should come to Uganda, because if you make it difficult, we Ugandans are selling Rwanda, Tanzania, and Kenya.
Where it is easy.
So if you say you want me to get some license and I'm going to line up and beg a minister who I don't know, I will take them to Ngorongoro, Serengeti, I'll take them to see the gorillas in Rwanda, and I will take them to the Masai Mara, and we will lose out on that money. And I am a very patriotic Ugandan. It would pain me to see that. Number 3, does the foreign funding cap of 400 million capture ordinary tourism revenue? The average cost of bringing a tourist into Uganda is about $2,000 to $3,000. The average safari takes about 5 to 7 people. I have to go and ask for permission every 7 safaris. So every month I'm going to ask for permission twice or 3 times for a 12-month period.
From Fox?
No, I will not go to Fox. So you can see that this, and I want to apologize for my next statement. I think that we have become the grass when the elephants suffer as a tourism industry. And we would like to be exempted and also turn into an elephant given our contribution to the economy.
Oh, you want to be declared elephants?
Yeah.
So that the grass can suffer.
And we are not NGOs. So I'll take you to my next point.
Please.
How will the banking compliance requirements affect international tourism?
So on this one, so you think the threshold is too low, too high, or unnecessary?
I can tell you that on average, we make more than 100,000 in a month.
Yes.
So that means that I am going to go and ask for permission
Every
month or every 2 weeks.
And how many tour operators are you?
We are 1,600.
So those are 1,600 requests on the table of a minister.
Yeah. Well, how many forms am I going to sign? Yes. But how many forms am I going to sign? And what is the impact of that? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, Honorable
I wanted to make it interactive. One, she's a very smart girl. She's our boss in that industry. And definitely, even if you do the paperwork, which is standard paperwork from government, for you just fill in a form, and that is it. The presumption that periodically they will come and supervise you whether you complied. That's a different matter. Otherwise, the business of visitation and seeking for permission, it is impossible, it's impracticable.
Honorable Yusuf, my teacher, these are barriers, these are impediments to trade, to business. That is what we must address. And we cannot dismiss it simply by suggesting that you sign a form.
No.
There's a provision of the law requiring you.
See, what the chairperson of the tour operators is saying is that it is, first of all, tedious, unnecessary, impracticable, but also if there are 1,600, you're going to have 1,600 requests on the table of a minister, right?
Then we shall start talking about backlog.
I also want to ask Mr. Silambi a question.
Yes.
Actually, give him my experience. When they started automating the visa process for tourists, it would take us about a week or two to get a visa for a tourist. When we sat down with them and took them through our challenges, they now do it in 24 hours maximum. So your form is like immigration. After we fill in that form, we're going to have to follow the form up and cry and complain. And we're saying that takes away from the marketability of our country. We are regulated. We are licensed by Uganda Tourism Board.
Okay.
Yeah.
You made your point. Sive, next.
Will the banking compliance requirements affect international tourism transactions? I can tell you that when you receive money from tour agents abroad, the bank will hold it in most cases until you explain. So when you add some more impediments to this transaction, what happens to the safari that is leaving on Monday and the
Do you now declare to Bank of Uganda?
Yes, we do.
You do?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah. We actually attach our invoices.
Okay.
The bank won't release the money.
Okay.
We also want to ask, based on this sovereignty bill, what timelines govern the approval processes? Thank you. So tourism operations are time sensitive, and the delays in approval may lead to lost business, financing challenges, and the reduced investor confidence. Clear timelines are therefore essential. I think as tour operators, we're already struggling to sell our country, given the very little contribution by government into the marketing of this country. Can we not make it any harder? I just wanted to bring to your attention that the bill does not specify the maximum statutory period within which approval decisions must be made, leaving applicants in a state of uncertainty. It does not provide for interim, conditional, or provisional approvals that would allow time-sensitive transactions to proceed while compliance review is ongoing. It does not include a deemed approval mechanism in cases of administrative silence, thereby allowing regulatory inaction to function as a de facto refusal without accountability. From a sectoral perspective, these gaps collectively introduce friction into what is otherwise a fast-moving, institutionalized industry. Tourism depends heavily on trust, predictability, and responsiveness, not only from private sector players, but also from the regulatory environment within which they operate. The next question is, what is the extent of criminal liability exposure under the bill?
Yes.
And we feel that it's a bit dry. It's actually obnoxious.
4 billion and 2 billion?
You're going to charge me 4 billion because I did not declare $105,000. I think you need to relook at that. Next, the potential, and I wanted to go through quickly because I know there are people who've been waiting. Potential implications for the tourism industry and local communities. Now, I want to give you an example. Bwindi Hospital was built purely on donor funds. So are you going to stop projects like that from happening because they need approvals? This bill will have significant and far-reaching consequences across Uganda's tourism ecosystem. Now, a lot of people believe that money for conservation actually comes into government. That's not necessarily true. A lot of private sector players are running conservation activities around national parks. In their communities, they're building schools, they're building churches, they're setting up computer laboratories. You're saying to them, do not bring this money. Go and fill in a form, ask for permission, just to help your community. It's going to lead to reduced competitiveness of Uganda as a destination. Yeah? And I can tell you that personally, I've been in this industry 15 years. And we have been investing our own money to sell Uganda for the last 30 years. The company I run is 32 years old. So for you to tell me, after investing 30 years in this industry, yeah, to apply or to take me back 3 steps backwards because you want a protection of sovereignty, I think what you're doing is literally destroying the tourism industry. There will be a decline in foreign exchange earnings. That is self-explanatory. There will be delays in approval for foreign-linked transactions. There will be reduction in international bookings driven by uncertainty. I have a message I want to read for you from an agent when I finish on this particular sovereign bill. She's Dutch. There will be a decline in foreign currency inflows. There will be pressure on foreign reserves. There will be balance of payment strain. There will be exchange rate implications, and there will be physical impact on reduced tax revenues. There will be job losses, and there will be reduced livelihoods. I personally employ 102 Ugandans. Honorable Nsibambi, how many people do you employ? If my tourists don't stop over
Honorable
at your
Nsibambi is not
place-
a witness now.
Oh.
Go on, chairperson of two operators.
Okay. So there will be job losses and there will be reduced livelihoods. And please, I want you to know that there were backward and forward linkages in the tourism industry.
Yes.
Into different other sectors, agriculture, manufacturing, your road infrastructure, the petrol, the fuel and energy industry. We basically are a trickle-down effect to all these other sectors slowly over time. There will be reduced income for community-based tourism enterprises. Honorable Kazwende, this will affect you. The Lake Mburo National Park falls in Chirura district. So I don't know how you're going to explain
I need protection. Okay, go on, please.
So I would also like to bring to your attention that Uganda plays a uniquely important role because it sits at the intersection of economic inclusion, conservation, and cultural preservation. Unlike large-scale commercial tourism enterprises, community-based tourism initiatives are typically owned and managed at the village and community
Chair,
level.
procedure. I believe the paper as it is, apart from me, everyone here is beaten. Just give recommendations specifically for the clauses for us to write a report. How,
Honorable Nsibambi, you give in so easily like that. Put up a fight.
Thank you.
Okay, go on, the chairperson of two operators.
Thank you, Honorable Nsibambi, but I am his chairperson.
Okay.
Okay, so there will be weakening. I'm literally running through it. There will be weakening of conservation efforts. And you do know that the conservation sector is significantly supported by international cooperation frameworks. So things like the translocation of rhinos from Makshan Falls to Ajai will be affected by your bill. The translocation of giraffes, and Honorable Kajenje, this affects you, from Makshan Falls to Lake Mburo. You've seen the giraffes in Lake Mburo? They were translocated from Makshan Falls into Lake Mburo.
So how is this?
The Giraffe Conservation Society, which is a foreign
Company.
agent, actually paid for the translocation of those giraffes. So what this bill is saying is, government, fund your own things. So, and that's why I said, give me time, because I want you to understand the impact of this bill on not just me, but the animals and your people. Yeah. Yes. He's a foreign agent. So
go on.
So one immediate risk is the potential to slow down or reduction in conservation financing streams. Many conservation initiatives depend on the predictability and timely disbursement of international funds.
Yes.
The rhinos can't wait for you to pass money. A snare on an elephant cannot wait for you to pass money. A collared rhino cannot wait for you to sign a bill or permission to get things done. The censuses are funded, the animal censuses are funded by conservation efforts. Monitoring programs, wildlife protection initiatives, community conservation partnerships will all be affected by this bill. There will be a reduction in investment in infrastructure. What infrastructure? Lodges and hotels. You all know that we are now a mid-range tourism destination. We need to actually have a high-end tourism destination. We need to be able to cater for all the different aspects, the high-end, the ultra-luxury, the mid-range, and the budget. But right now, there are not many Ugandans who are going to afford to put $10 million into a facility. So you're saying to us that we remain mid-range because we Ugandans can afford a certain amount of money. This bill is saying for everything you're going to do, have a document signed. So phase 1 of the construction, run to Ministry of Internal Affairs. Phase 2, run again. Phase 3, run again. That's not right. Transport fleets and logistic systems will also be affected under infrastructure. Digital booking platforms, which we all use. All the hotels are using digital booking platforms. And you spend more than 100,000 every year. So I'm going to come for permission for that. Training and hospitality infrastructure, skilling academies, training institutes, your local trainings in your communities will all be affected by this bill. Access roads and destination facilities, stopover points will be affected, Honorable Nsivambi. So there'll be uncertainty around the regulatory framework for international classification of foreign-linked entities and capital deferral or withdrawal of planned projects. There will be a slowdown, in summary, in the tourism infrastructure expansion. There will be increased vulnerability of SMEs. Small and medium enterprises dominate Uganda's tourism sector, particularly among the tour operators. These businesses typically operate within the structural backbone of the Uganda tourism industry. Okay, I want to give you my asks. My recommendation to Parliament
please.
And to this committee.
Yes.
We would like for you to align with the National Development Priorities, NDP.
Aligning national development priorities, particularly tourism growth. Yes.
And we...
As part of the ATMs.
Yes, and we want you to note that tourism is not a peripheral industry. It is one of the Uganda's leading foreign exchange earners, a major employer, and a key pillar to rural development and conservation. I want to go to ask number 2, explicit exemptions for legitimate tourism and commercial activities. Given the structure of the tourism industry, it is essential for this bill to explicitly exclude ordinary commercial and operational activities from restrictive provisions. We recommend that the bill clearly exempts tourism marketing and promotion activities, commercial contracts with foreign clients and agents, international travel and booking transactions, conservation and sustainability partnerships linked to tourism. Such exemption will ensure that the law targets genuine risks without undermining lawful economic activity. We ask actually, that you adopt a risk-based, proportionate regulatory approach. And Mr. Nsivambi asked me about regulation. And we recommend that any regulatory measures introduced under the bill adopt a risk-based and a proportionate approach, rather than applying broad restrictions across entire sectors. This model would distinguish between low-risk commercial activities like tourism bookings, hotel payments, agency contracts, and high-risk activities that may genuinely affect the national security and policy integrity. We ask that the regulation is targeted and efficient, compliance burdens are minimized for low-risk players, and government resources are focused on genuine risks. For tourism, a blanket regulatory approach would be particularly harmful due to the sector's reliance on speed, flexibility, and international trust. Even minor delays or uncertainty can result into lost bookings. A proportionate framework would therefore safeguard sovereignty objectives without undermining economic competitiveness. We actually ask that structured stakeholder consultations prior to enactment. We brought ourselves.
Go on.
We are saying we brought ourselves.
Yes.
And yet, we bring in most of the money. Alongside coffee. Now, if they have not consulted us, and we are victims, the biggest victims, then who have they consulted? I ask. So, we want to recommend consultations within our industry to include OTO, the Uganda Tourism Board, the Uganda Wildlife Authority, private sector representatives across the tourism value chains, and community-based tourism enterprises, financial institutions involved in tourism financing. We want to request the preservation of Uganda's international competitiveness and openness. In conclusion, the tourism sector by its nature is grounded in openness, trust, and predictability, and global connectivity. It functions within an ecosystem that depends on seamless cross-border collaboration, stable regulatory frameworks, and sustained international confidence. Accordingly, any legislative measures that directly or indirectly affect the sector must be carefully calibrated to ensure that they do not generate unintended economic distortions or undermine Uganda's competitiveness as a destination of choice. OTO therefore underscores the importance of a regulatory approach that is both firm in safeguarding national interests and sensitive to the operational realities of a globally integrated tourism industry. The sector's continued growth depends on maintaining Uganda's reputation as an accessible, reliable, and investment-friendly destination. Lastly, OTO recognizes that a protection of our national sovereignty is both legitimate and necessary. However, the proposed legislative framework raises significant concerns regarding its potential impact on private sector operations, international partnerships, and Uganda's global competitiveness. Chair, off record,
yes,
I would like to state that this bill will destroy...
No, off record.
It may be
when you
made
were waiting.
off cuff.
On a lighter
Off cuff
note,
is okay.
Off cuff.
But
Yes.
the record cannot be...
This bill will not only impact to operators, it will impact more than 80% of your house. Order, blackmail.
Go on. Conclude.
My recommendation is the tourism industry as a sector should be removed.
From the reach
exempted
of
because we need the money. We need to be able to sell our country, and we need to be able to grow the sector.
Thank you.
Right now, 23% of our tourism earnings are coming in through leisure tourists. We need to grow that number from 23 to 70% like our neighbors are doing.
And if we grow it, we earn how much?
Multiplied by 3.
So that you are looking at $12 billion.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. A round of applause for Chairperson Tourism. Madam, you are filing from all cylinders. No doubt about it. We are impressed. Honorable colleagues, it is 6. Now, what this one means is that flags have been lowered and the sugar levels are completely low. If you can hear this from me, there is another hearing on Monday, whole day. So if you think you have not been considered, please register. You'll be